Hi there, Shalom from Israel. It is the fifth day of Tevet, 5,782. I want to remind everyone that in 5 days is the fast of Asara B'Tevet. So that's an exciting event for this month.
Why are we fasting, Rabbi Avi? Tell us.
Because thousands of years ago, Jews were rotten to each other, and God punished them by having an outside kingdom come and lay siege to Jerusalem. So we commemorate that, and we try not to be evil to each other, and we try to be better people.
Tell me this, Rabbi Avi. If we were to commemorate every terrible thing that ever happened to the Jewish people, would there be any days that weren't fast days?
Well, if we commemorated things that the enemy did to us, then that would be every day of the year. But if we commemorated things that we did to ourselves, so then we might have like one day off for the year.
Seems that way. Seems that way. That it does, Rabbi Avi, that it does.
So we got to do better.
We got to do better.
Well, listen, we just came off of Hanukkah. We should be flowing from the oil. Oh, my Hanukkah was fantastic. I'll tell you the truth, because my whole family was together. And these days, it's very hard to get everyone together in one place. They happen to have been in Krakow, Poland. And that was really nice. So enjoy.
What better place than Krakow?
Listen, my one son's married, and the other one, my daughter's in the army, and everyone came together, and I have a new apartment, and we had a wonderful Hanukkah party, and I had a birthday. So a lot of festivities, a lot of joy. Now back to work.
How does it feel being 51, Avi?
If I thought I was going to live to 100, then I would feel like, I'm on my way on the other side. I'm on the backside. But since I feel like I'm going to live to 120, so I'm still going up the hill.
Would you want to live to 120?
Yeah, of course. You don't want to be, invincible, eternal. See everything that happens, and and all your prophecies coming true. Everything being fulfilled.
All I need is what Conan the Barbarian said. I need
vanquish your enemies.
I need to vanquish my enemies. See them driven before me and hear the lamentation of the women. That's it. I'm a simple man like Conan.
That's it. That's all you need.
That's all I need. If it takes 120 years, then that's how long it takes. If it happens in the next 10 years, then all right. Good morning, Saul Schachter from chilly, New York. It's very chilly in Krakow too. Luckily, we, like you, overdosed on latkes, and we have an extra layer of latke insulation and are keeping warm. When I say we, I mean Rabbi Avi.
Oh, thank you. It's actually chilly here in Israel as well. The rain has come, but for us, it's a blessing. So whenever it starts, we all rejoice.
Avi's been benching a lot of goimel. It's freezing in Krakow. It is freezing.
Oh, really?
I commiserate with you.
But no snow.
But I think there was snow. I just wasn't here for it. But when I came back, I did see snow.
I want to tell you, the day before I left, I had a special moment that I did see some snow because I went into the mountains. And I went into the mountains because I went to Nova Targ, where my great-grandmother was murdered, and where Darius Popiela did yet another remarkable feat by making a monument.
And where our accountant Dorota is from.
Oh, I should have stopped by. Anyway, it's amazing that he had these five monuments that are black marble, and the names of everyone. And my great-grandmother, Sarah Bammel, who was 80 years old when she was murdered, was there. And there's a testimony, and I spoke to this wonderful woman, Carolina Pans, who explained the testimony and how it was done by this guy who was from, Polish guy who survived the war. So it was very emotional and quite moving. And we just congratulate to Derek. He just doesn't stop. So that's
you to let's take a moment. I just want to say hi to Marcel. Best regards, our good friend, our very good friend Marcel, watching from Montreal. Love to you and Marilla. So, Avi, take a moment, because not everybody automatically knows who Derek is. So maybe take a moment and tell Derek's story in a minute.
Well, everybody should know who Derek is, because he was on, I think it was number 62. No, I don't know what number AMA, but he is an amazing Polish Olympian who also decided that he should support the Jewish cemeteries which were dilapidated. So he raised money and he spent his time and effort going through the mountains and supporting and revamping and making monuments to preserve the memory of Jews who were murdered.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Today, we're going to speak to a young woman who's still a student, Agnieszka Stefańska, who is doing phenomenal work at the border, and learn a little bit about the border situation in a few minutes. I'm excited. I don't have any particular expertise, and I'm excited to hear about it. And of course, we are not only focused, it seems sometimes like we can be very focused only on Jewish topics, but of course we are focused on other topics. And what's more important in the Jewish world than preserving life and taking care of refugees, which we of course historically have been. So it's something that it should be close to all of our hearts and close to all of our consciousness.
Yes, absolutely. We take human life very, very seriously, and our hearts go out to people who are suffering or are in between places. We know what it's like to be wandering without a home. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
We know what it's like when no one opens their door to us, and so we have to.
And we know what it's like. And we'll talk about it with Agnieszka, but we as a people know what it's like to be stuck exactly there, because during the Holocaust, there was a period where Jews were stuck essentially in the same place with nowhere to go. So we have memory of this particular situation, this particular land. So it's not easy, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. I was in Budapest.
Oh.
Don't know, Avi, have you been to Budapest?
Of course. I've been to Buda and Pest.
Well, then that was a bit of a mic drop from you, wasn't it? La di da. So I went to
several
Budapest.
times.
I've also been several times. Actually, the first time I went to Budapest was in 1996.
Wow.
It was my first experience in Central or Eastern Europe. And I was living on the kibbutz in Israel, and I had a girlfriend named Barbara, who was from Budapest, and we went back to Budapest. I went to visit her and her family there, and it was great. And I, of course, had no idea that years later I would move to the neighboring country, or almost neighboring country, of Poland. So that was, I'll tell you what, it was an eye opener, because my experience as an American of thinking, I thought everything behind the Iron Curtain was just dingy and ugly and gray. And I remember getting to Budapest, 1996, mind you, 25 years ago. And we go to like some mall, and first thing she tells me is, oh, this mall and all the malls are owned by Israelis. It's 1996, 96, mind you, right? And then I walk in, and it was like bigger and better looking than any shops or anything I'd ever seen in the United States. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Really opened my eyes a little bit. But anyway, that was 1996. And over the years, I've been back a few times, giving a talk here or there, or just, doing something for a conference. But this time I was there as part of Michael Paley's Tarbut Fellowship, which is a wonderful initiative that he started in Budapest and Warsaw with a little Krakow involvement, but essentially two cohorts, a Hungarian cohort and a Polish cohort. And he is trying to train young Jews how to be lay leaders, something that's missing. We have professionals to some degree, we have some. But lay leaders, this concept of being, just a upstanding, successful, functional, engaged member of your community, and how to translate that into leadership in the Jewish community without actually working for a Jewish organization, is something that Michael Paley believes very strongly in. Is that he was, very involved in setting up, and one of the leaders of the Wexner Heritage Program, which did amazing work training lay leaders in the United States. And his essential program is to take these people, these young, bright people, and to expose them to all the connections and all the good that he can in the Jewish world, which means teaching, having them learn from scholars, having them learn from community leaders. He had, the week before I did, he had Agnieszka Holland, the famous director who directed, Europa, and many other films, spoke to the group. So, he really kind of, does whatever he can to connect them internationally and to get them engaged and to prepare them to become leaders in their community. Not only,
that's amazing.
So yeah, so I was honored to be able to go there and speak to them about community building.
They came to Krakow. I remember we were there together. We hosted them.
They came
Very
to Krakow.
special people.
They came, very impressive, amazing, very strong, opinionated. It was great. So I went to meet separately with the cohort. So we went to Budapest and we spent a few days there and got shown around Budapest by Michael, and it was amazing. I'll tell you what, I forget that there are places in this part of the world, because there aren't many, that actually have a lot of Jews. In other words, Budapest has like 100,000 Jews. There's like Jewish restaurants, and the rabbi, we're in some kosher restaurant, and the rabbi comes up to him and starts talking, and he lights candles, and he says, which synagogue do you go to? And he goes, oh, I live in this district, I go to this synagogue. And it was so amazing to me, because I live in a world where the Warsaw community is like the big one, and it's, we're so tiny compared to Budapest, and it has the most Jews in between Paris and Moscow.
Wow, that's just amazing. We don't think about it, and
yeah,
I can't even imagine 100,000 Jews. I mean, we're scrounging to try to find one here and one there, and right. They're like,
yeah. I've dubbed it the Upper West Side of Central Europe. Now, of course, I'm not sure what makes the Upper East Side and where Brooklyn is and all of that, but the Upper West Side of Central Europe, I'm sticking with that one.
So and what were the synagogues full, or you weren't there for?
We saw them I wasn't there. I didn't go in the morning. I just was there in the afternoons. But I'll tell you something very interesting. And Michael Paley told me about it. And then I was in a synagogue, and I forget exactly which one, the Koshitsky or the other one of the two synagogues, not the Dohain. The Dohain is the big one. But there's a synagogue there that they built in response to the Dohain. Orthodox built the synagogue, and it's the motif of the synagogue all around it are 5 branched menorahs. In other words, so missing the outside too. And the idea is supposed to be that to show people that this isn't reality, that life in the Chul, life in the diaspora, life outside of the Holy Land, this isn't the real world. They're not supposed to get too comfortable here. Something is a bit off about it. And It was fascinating. But the synagogue is covered in 5 branched menorahs, Orthodox synagogue built by the Orthodox, absolutely mind-boggling. And I'm Googling it afterwards, and there's not too much about it, but it was a very, very interesting thing for me. Fascinating.
That is cool. That is interesting. You know that in Jewish law, you set a table and you leave one setting empty. Like when no one does it, but you're supposed to leave it for the temple, that we're not complete. There are a lot of laws like that, but I never heard of the 5 branch menorah, which is cool.
So what was interesting to me is that, you hear, if I tell you, synagogues around the world, everywhere outside of Israel, we have a 5 branch menorah to symbolize that it's not perfect, that it's not the Holy Land, and we're still in Galut. Like, okay, you'd say, okay, that makes sense, kind of, right? Like a different dreidel, right? But why only one synagogue? Why are they the only ones who did it? And what was happening at that planning meeting when they said, okay, all the wealthy people that are coming together and raising money and building a synagogue, and we got this land and we're putting a synagogue, let's have a 5 branch menorah. Like, why not anywhere else is what's interesting to me, because it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I guess so the architect came up with the idea, and the committee said, sure, why not? And I mean, and the rest is history.
It's a bold idea. It's not like saying we're going to use light blue versus dark blue. It's a 5 branch menorah is all over the synagogue, carved out of wood, painted in relief. I mean, it's all over the synagogue.
That's fascinating.
Really interesting. So that after Budapest,
get to the really important stuff. How was the food? Kosher food.
Listen, for me, talking about the food, not right, but the last meal we did, I think I'll tell you what, Budapest, to me, my summary of Budapest is that it has the beauty of Krakow, and it's like a combination of Krakow and Warsaw. It has the size of Warsaw. And I'm not talking about from the Jewish perspective. I'm talking about from the city perspective. There's the size of Warsaw, and it's the capital of everything, and the sort of busyness and art, and sort of this, idea that that's the really the hub of the country. But it has the beauty of Krakow as well. So it's a very special city, and you feel that Budapest belongs to the Hungarians in a way that Prague doesn't belong to the Czech. Prague, it's like so touristy in the center, and it's like a jewel box. It's not really like a lived-in city. Where Budapest, you feel the living, that it's been lived in. But with the food, I'm not an expert, but I had some good food, and Kasia had some great food. She's the better judge. I think you can't compare the restaurants. To me, restaurants in Budapest much better than Krakow or Warsaw. No question.
Really?
No question. Big Budapest fan. Big fan.
Cool. And how's the currency? Is it what do they use there?
They use the forint, which is very, very weak. For example, I checked that one time I was there, I had some email in 2014, and it was 200 forints to the dollar. And now 2021, it was 320 forints to the dollar.
Whoa.
So a big change in 7 years. It's 50%. But then I flew to Warsaw, and I gave a different talk to the cohort in Warsaw. It was, they have different, for me to hear something different because I'm Polish, and that was interesting as well. And now, great to be back in Krakow.
Fantastic.
So Avi, let's bring on our guest, Agnieszka Stefańska. She is the coordinator of the aid department at the Salam Lab. Salam Lab is an organization that's working since 2016 to build equal civil society and looking for solutions in the field of education, social, and migration policy. They're one of the organizations that are most involved these days with helping the situation on the border. It's part of Grupa Granica, which is a coalition, a grassroots initiative. Hi, just introducing you. Hi, Agnieszka. A grassroots initiative of 14 different NGOs that are working for human rights and supporting refugees and migrants in Poland. She is Agnieszka is a student. She's currently a third-year student of Latin American studies and interested in the problems of indigenous peoples. And she, while not only involved with helping refugees on the border, but also helping in Krakow, helping refugees from Afghanistan. So, Agnieszka, what an honor to have you. Thank you so much for finding the time. We are such fans and happy to, in a small way, be partners of Salam Lab. And thank you for being with us today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So Agnieszka, I want to get right into it. I think people generally, I certainly in the United States, where a lot of the people watching are from, it's been in the New York Times and been in every major news source. Let's maybe a little bit of background for people that understand something's going on at the border and here and there, but they don't really understand too much. Can you give us a little bit of background? What is happening right now, and what, start with what's happening now on the border.
Okay, so what's happening right now is that, in a Poland-Belarus border, we have a humanitarian crisis. We have people being trapped in the forest. They are trying to get to European Union through the Polish forest. Most of them, they don't really know that there is actually Poland there. They think that it is only Germany, so they think they are in German actually. So they're stuck in there, and they cannot go either way. They cannot go back to Belarus and to their countries. They are forced to stay in the forest. And there's no help there. There are no humanitarian, like professional humanitarian and medical help, or no journalists. Like no one can go there in this zone that is protected. So what we are doing there is we are bringing help as just people like me. Like you said, I'm just a student. I'm just a young person that is trying to help as much as I can, and yeah, that's what's happening right now. And just to be clear, it's very cold there. So
I absolutely, it's been cold. It's colder there than it is here, and it's been cold here for a while. So let's take a step back so we understand a little bit. And I really want to talk a lot about what it's like at the border and what exactly you're doing and how people can help and get involved. And we'll talk about all that. Where are these people coming from? You say they don't exactly. They're obviously not. There's no, master plan to all of this from their side if they don't even understand exactly where they're coming to. So where are they generally coming from?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a controlled situation. This is not just immigrants trying to get to Europe. This is controlled by Lukashenko.
By the president of Belarus, Lukashenko.
Belarus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So he is. They're being. So they're being okay. So he is trying to get them from their countries by like planes. It's not okay. So he's trying to get them to the border from countries that are in the like with conflict, with wars, places like Iraq, Yemen, and Syria. So those are like free. The most refugees are from those countries.
In those three countries, yeah.
Yeah. So he's also Afghanistan too. So they're taking those people from like with planes, with buses. They're putting them first on the camps that are there, like on the Belarusian border.
They're bringing them. We're talking about not people that are on their own or somehow realizing I want a better life, and necessarily they're essentially facilitating it. The leader of Belarus is bringing these people and bringing them to the edge to the Belarusian border, Polish border.
Yes, and most of the people are like they want a better life because they can live in their countries, right? Like in Syria, you cannot live there. So they will do. They're desperate. They will do anything. If someone tell them that you can go to Europe and it's just you just cross and it's nothing difficult. So they don't even have things with them. They have like one bag with clothes and that's it, because they don't know like the temperature. They don't know anything about Poland, Europe, Germany. They just so desperate that they will do anything to get out of their country.
So why? So you know, why is this happening? In other words, what is Lukashenko? What is Belarus is essentially recruiting people, saying, you know, the people that are desperate for a better life, they're in these places that are war torn. They want a better life for themselves and their family. And Lukashenko is saying to them, "Oh, we can help you with that. We'll bring you to the edge of Europe, and you just cross the border and you go into Europe and you have a better life."
Okay, so Lukashenko, what is he trying to do is he. Trying to force European Union to back up with the I forget the word, but like they okay, so they
there are certain economic sanctions,
restrictions, yes,
right?
sanctions, restrictions, yeah,
right. So the European Union, because Belarus is essentially a complete dictatorship with the Lukashenko running it for 20-something years, I think, at this point, is essentially there are sanctions that the European Union has placed against Belarus, and Belarus is trying to cause pain to the European Union and problems to get them to have a bargaining chip to get them to reduce these sanctions, something like that.
Yes, and also Polish border is like Poland is a part of the European Union, but also the Polish border is a European border. So this is important in this like strategic tactic way, just to disorganize our country, Poland, but also to, you know, put pressure on the European Union.
Wait, so Agnieszka, Lukashenko is simply using these people as pawns in order to try to make roads into the European Union and try to get them to heal?
I mean, it's more about like destabilization of our situation. So actually, what we should do, like in my opinion, and not only my opinion, is if we just take them and actually like check if they can stay there or if they should be deported to their countries. We should check them, of course, but if we would like take them and make this corridor for them, it wouldn't destabilize our country, right? It would, like what we are doing right now, that we cannot, like, we have the zone that no one can go into, that is like completely blocked from everything. We are we are the part of the plan. We are doing what he was expecting us to do, right?
Yeah. So just want to make sure everybody's clear. So we have a situation where these people are essentially being weaponized, right? These are people that have nothing, that want to have a better life, that are in terrible situations, sometimes political, even fleeing for political reasons, and that are lives are in danger where they are. And Lukashenko is saying, "Oh, we'll help you get to Europe, and then drops them on the border, knowing fully well that that Poland is going to react, or expecting that Poland is going to react in a certain way, which is to say, wait a minute, we're not going to let these people in. First of all, because we'll get into that in a second, but also because they think that this is part of Lukashenko's plan and don't want to just give in to what he's doing at the border.
Yes,
So,
it's not a new strategic. It's like the same thing was happening in Greece when they were just using people that just like have nothing to do, right? They will do anything just to save their lives and save the lives of their families, right?
Now, once he brings in, the certain number in the thousands, is he continuing to do it every day, or once this whole thing erupted, he's kind of stopped, and people are wiser to know that you're going to run into a brick wall at the Polish border? What's happening like on the daily?
Okay, so the situation was changing, and it is changing very quickly. So we have certain moments when it was really difficult. So we had those moments when soldiers, Belarusian soldiers, they gathered big groups of migrants. They just gathered them, and they just weaponized them. They gave them like rocks, and they said that you have to go there, like through the border. You have to like break the border and go. So we have at this time in Kuźnica, it was in Kuźnica. So they like Polish guards and Polish they also sent army there. So it was a big mobilization of a lot of people there to just go there and just to like prevent them from doing this. So it was a very difficult moment, but actually it was just in this area. It was like very like many people there, but like other refugees can go through like other places, right? Like other yeah. So what they're doing also is they're putting them very far from the like legal place where you can go and ask for asylum, right? And what they're doing, they're not letting them like sign any papers, right? They should, when they're even if they're like crossing the border illegally, they should be able to sign papers for asylum, for protection, right? And then like
according to international law, if they want to request asylum, that the country has to allow them to request asylum, and Poland is not allowing them to request asylum.
Yes, and also what's happening, it's like when you're not letting them sign those papers, you cannot check them, you cannot check who they are. So they're just going, and they will go illegally. They will find a way. They will find help or won't, but like many of them will. And you cannot check them. They will be in the country. They will go to Germany, and it's not a safe way. It's just putting people into danger. And
so according to international law, what should Poland, because this isn't a situation that isn't explained, I think, by international law. So according to your understanding, and I know you're not a lawyer, but you're very involved in this. So I hope, maybe you can probably know more than me and Avi do about it, me and the rabbi. But according to international law, what should Poland be doing, right? I think that there's a method. If you have somebody who wants asylum at the border, you're supposed to interview them and grant, right? There's certain basic human rights that you're supposed to give these people, right? That you're supposed to treat them in a certain way, no?
Yeah, so when those forces, those like border forces, when they find someone in the forest or whatever, they should check their IDs and stuff if they have them, and they should sign if they want asylum in Poland, or they want protection and like multinational protection. Then they should fill the papers with them, and then they should bring them to those places for refugees. So those places, there are two kinds. One is like open, that they can go out of them when they have all the papers and they're in like better situation. and there are also closed ones when they cannot go, and the conditions there are not really that great. But here in Poland we have a lot of them, and it's like it's not like 5,000 refugees on the border. It's not like a migrant crisis. We can deal with that, and we have places that we could have placed them if we would, like, if the country would do the procedure that it's, you know, how it's supposed to be.
Right. So tell me
Right,
this.
but if
not
Poland
that-
places them, then Lukashenko will get 5,000 more. No, like, I don't
Right,
understand.
that's what I was going to ask. Like, is it a question of, yeah, I mean, I think we all here understand that I'm just trying to understand from the Polish government argument here. Not that I'm explaining it or accepting it. I'm just trying to understand, you know, as Avi is saying, it's perfectly like, is the idea that, you know, are they at least justifying this by saying, okay, we could 5,000 people, sure, we have a country of 38 million, we could let these 5,000 people in, but then he's just going to send more and more and more, so we have to take a stand and stop this right away, even if the human cost is terrible? Is that what you understand that they're saying?
Okay, so this is how it is supposed to be, but actually what we should do now, we should do a corridor, like for safety of the migrants, because it should be all about also safety, because it's not like we should keep them in those you know, places for them. Those places for refugees, you just wait for the you know, acceptation, or just deport them. But you're deporting them for to their countries. You're not because what Polish guards are doing right now is just pushing them back to the border, so they cannot go either way. They cannot even go back to Belarus, right? So they're forced to do it next, like, more times, right? So there are people doing it like 5 times, but there are people doing it like 17 times, and I met those people.
So I want to ask you in a moment about what it's like at the border, and tell you something that I read, which was, and tell me, because as we start to talk about what it's, I think people can't understand first how cold it is and what these people are going through on the border, trapped in between countries that you know, that don't allow them to move forward. And something I read was that that if there are medical conditions and you have women there with babies and pregnant women and you know, and little children and older people, it's you know, it's very difficult. It's not only like, you know, young, strong, healthy people are doing it, which would still be a tragedy, but you certainly have people that are in, you know, in greater physical need, that there were issues of somebody getting sick, and that they understood if they called, if they, you know, and there were, if they called for any help, then they would automatically be arrested and get sent back. And if so they would try to just hopefully not get too sick and be able to somehow make it through, because for them, getting arrested or getting sent back to their country was worse than dealing with any illness. So they really had this, you know, this terrible choice, really no choice.
Yeah, I was actually on the border, because I was on the border twice, and I just got back like 2 weeks ago, and like the situation is completely different now, but it was pretty cold and there when I was there, and like most people that we were meeting, we were helping them. They had hypothermia, and they had you know, they couldn't walk because they were like soaking wet. Now it's you know, it's raining, it's snowing all the time.
Maybe tell me in detail a little bit, because this to me is absolutely fascinating. And to be honest, I've heard people speaking, but I've never actually spoken to somebody like this, you know, and I'm sure it's interesting for everybody who will see this. So when you say, so tell me what that means. You're in Krakow, you live in Krakow, you're a student here, you go to the border, you're involved with these organizations that are phenomenal. You're going and doing what? So it means you're getting in a car with a few people, you're driving to as close as you can, and then going on foot to because you don't want to get arrested. Tell me a little bit, paint the picture for us. What does that look like? What does it mean going to the border? For you understand what that means, but for the rest of us, you know, we don't understand logistically. What are you doing?
Yeah, okay. So I cannot tell you too much, but what I can say is that, yeah, you know, helping those people is not illegal, but yeah, we are there, and
being there, I think, but being there could be illegal, right?
I mean, we are not on this, like, we're not going through the zone.
So staying on the edge.
Yeah, we're not passing yeah, but many people are, actually like passing the zone, and we can help them there.
Yeah.
So we have local people that are going there and
live there, because if people live there, they're allowed to be there, right? It's not like they cleared out the zone. You, just as somebody who doesn't live there, can't go in.
Yes, so they're living there, so they can go there, and there are many people helping, and those
local people who live there
Yes.
that are helping them, which is it's a wonderful thing that's happening, at least.
Yeah, those people are wonderful, and they're heroes to me, because they have just people knocking on the doors, right? They don't have, like, they cannot go back, like I am going back to Krakow and just involved in this, but they're doing it every day, right?
I think that for us, from the Jewish perspective, and I'm, at the Jewish Community Center, and I know you've been here and all this, and Rabbi Avi is a rabbi whose grandparents are Holocaust survivors. And for us, listen, for us, this is a human tragedy. It doesn't matter, where these people are from. These are irrelevant. But also, we're talking about 75, 80 years ago, there were Jews in this, they're not far from, we're talking about a place that's not terribly far from, where camps were on the east of Poland, that Jews were also knocking on doors, this 80 years ago. And if somebody opened the door and gave them a piece of bread, then maybe they lived, or hid them or took them in. So I think that for us, this is something that, in the Jewish community, not only in Poland, that we're working to try to support, organizations like yours, but around the world. This is something, not only the abstract, but these are almost the same houses that our grandparents were knocking on the door, and they had also nowhere to turn back, because if the Germans caught them, they would kill them. And if they starved in the forest, they would also die. So it's particularly, I think it's for us, it's really something that hits very close to home.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me because I have like same thoughts, it's like, I can't believe that we let that happen again. And
we didn't learn what we should learn.
Agnieszka, I still need to understand a little more. How long is the border? We're talking about a forest, and it's many, many kilometers, a deep forest, right? And it's not like there's a wall that says you're now in Poland. It's just a big forest. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the theory is that he placed them at the edge, and anyone who's managed to get a certain distance within the forest is already in Poland, and it's if they find a house or a community that's there, so people can help them out. And I guess that's what has happened with some of them, that they were able to get some kind of lodging. Otherwise, they're in a forest. It's freezing. They're going to die. I don't understand, right? Like, so they're finding some place to get somehow some lodging.
Okay, so it's really difficult, because there's also, because we have like this propaganda in media. We have many people saying that those people are, they're gonna change our culture, they're gonna like take our jobs and stuff like this, like all the stuff that you say about migrants, just as always. So many people there are, very poor. Most of them are old people, so they are afraid. So it's really normal that they're afraid.
People living. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just so clear, the people living in this area, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So east of Poland, it's really, traditional. It's really difficult for them to even like get to have like a clear picture of what is happening. They were just forced to see those military people like all over. It's really difficult, and I cannot imagine how their whole life it's changed in days. But yeah, a lot of people are helping right now, but the thing is that it's really like we have to go to help them, to give them food, to give them like warm clothes, to give them like basic medicine and stuff like this, to charge their phones. But we have to do it quickly, because if the board stuff like this to charge, if they catch them, if they catch them and us, then they're in problems, right? They're just gonna push them back right away. So we have to do it quickly, and but we cannot, we cannot take them. We cannot take them to we cannot show them the way. We cannot take them to the car and go with them. This is
Legally.
yes. So this is illegal. And what they're doing is that they are waiting for people helping them like this. But this is not our job. This is something who's doing it illegally. And yeah, what the people living there, what they can do is that they can like give them a house, because having someone as a guest and giving them food and giving them water, it is not illegal. It is legal. This is like a basic helping, right? Like so
unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me how similar the situation is to what was going on here in the same exact place in World War II. I have to tell you, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, it's breaking my heart, actually.
Doing incredible work. Maybe you said you've been to the border twice and it was a difference. Maybe talk about what changed between your first visit toward your more recent visit, and you said you got back only 2 weeks ago. So in the middle of November, end of November, you got back. What first visit versus second visit, what has changed?
Yeah, so I was first time I was it was end of August, I guess, when it all happened, when it all started to be, dramatic. And at first we were doing educational. We were just going to those little houses of people on the border, because it was even before this zone, right? So we were going there and we were talking to people. We were trying to to see how what they know about the situation, if they know how to deal with the person that is coming and just asking for help, right? Not even speaking your language, not even speaking English, most of the cases. That was really a different situation, when those people were like afraid. They didn't know what to do. They never had anyone. Like sometimes they never even saw someone with different skin color, right? So it's really, it's really the whole life changed in this moment. So it was really different, and also it was not many people there crossing the border when I was there my first time. But also I had difficult situations when I had to go to the families with many children, and children that were like only 7 months old, and it was very hard for me because those children were not even making sounds. I was checking if they're breathing actually, because they were not moving, they were not like a normal child. When we were like changing they were soaking wet. So we were changing the clothes they were wearing. We brought them those little clothes for children, and we were changing them, and they're not even saying anything. They were just like looking at us like they didn't know what's happening. They
not responsive.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine the trauma that the child will have for the rest of their life. It's horrible.
Tell me something, Agnieszka, and I want to talk to you also about like how people can help and what there is to do. And we've been trying a little bit to get involved with that here and through some of our partners around the world. But if in some way those people that live along the border can help, then would it make sense to support those people? In other words, to give aid to those, like, I don't know if there's someone on, farm people living in, in the countryside, farmers, not farmers, but living in these pretty isolated places. And if they could be supported maybe financially, and that was legal to do, then those people are able to give shelter. Maybe that would be a way, instead of, because they're allowed to do it.
Yeah, I really hope that the government will do it because they're actually people living in the zone. They're actually working as like a guard or like a guides. For the forest. Like those places for animals, right? They're just like guiding people how to go there and stuff.
Trackers or hunters.
Yeah, but also like they're like the guides, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they're showing the roads and stuff, and where there you can see those animals and stuff like this. So now they they lost their job. So we have people, and I've met those people that are like mothers, single mothers, that they have like 2-3 children, and they don't have any job right now, just because this is a closed zone that no tourists can go, and they are helping. They're giving home to those people. They're even like, I cannot even imagine how much they're spending on food when you have like 7-member family with your 2 children, right? Like even spending money on toilet paper, it's like it's a lot. And yeah, I don't know. So I like what we are doing right now is we are really using the help, their help, because they know they know the forest. They know where's the best way to go, and the safest way to go, because it's really dangerous. It's not flat. It's really dangerous, especially at night. And we have a lot of we're going at night many times. So yeah, and we also are helping them. So we are also, exchanging clothes and stuff that we have that people are sending us. So we are exchanging with them. So we are helping them, so they don't have as much costs. And we are also raising money, and we're the money that we're raising, we're also giving to them, so they can provide for the refugees. It's unbelievable how much work they have to do, every day.
Unbelievable. Agnieszka, how can we find out? I want to also talk about ways to get involved. But before that, how can people understand? Because the media has been at different times completely banned and then limited in their access to what's happening there. And it's not like it's just, reporters are going there and allowed to report. How can people, especially not, in Poland a little bit different, but people, we're doing this in English, people are watching that are English speakers primarily in the US, around the world. How can they find out about what's going on? What are the sources? Is it only social media? Is it only Twitter? Where can, who's putting out honest information about what's happening at the border?
Yeah, so it's very difficult to find, a source that is reliable and they can trust, that is giving you the information. Even, here in Poland, like we know what's true and what's not, but there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of sites that are, they should say just tell the truth, but they're not, and they're changing stuff. So I saw a really good interview on Guardian. So yeah, I guess this interview with Anna Albot, she's really amazing. So she also is on her social media. She is she is providing with a lot of reliable information. She's an amazing person. She was she has many refugees living with her in Germany at her home, and she's involved now with our border group. She's involved in helping the refugees here, and she also did this Aleppo civil march for Aleppo. I don't know if you heard about it, but just went straight to Aleppo, and the same road that refugees are coming to go to Europe. So it was amazing.
Wonderful to hear. Avi, you're leaning in. Do you have a question, Avi?
Agnieszka, how many are you? Like roughly, how many people in university are going up to the border and are helping out? Or is this a group of hundreds? Is a group of tens? I mean, is it you alone? What's going on? It just takes so much strength for you to do this. I'm just in shock.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, it's I guess it's like can be 100 of people, because people sometimes they're going just for 3 days, when they they don't have studies, they don't have work, they just go there and help for those 3 days and then go back. So this is changing all the time. But we have like a couple of bases that we are gathering, and we are going to help. But the situation is changing all the time, and now it's very, very cold. So it's not a lot of people that are actually handling the cold. It's -12. degrees, Celsius degrees. So it's really cold, and it's also, it's a danger to us, right? So right now the situation is also dangerous for us, because if we go to the forest and we just go to the lake or something, we cannot, it's so cold, we will be in trouble. So we really have to be very careful. So also we need people that are really careful, and they're strong, and but this is mostly activists that are involved in other things, and they cannot watch this happening. So
Agnieszka, I want to talk about two things. One, well, we're such big fans of Salam Lab, and have worked with the Vilchinskis for a while already, and are working on different projects. And we have actually something that we're hoping to raise from one of our main partners, a pretty large amount of money that would then go to Salam Lab, and I hope that will work out. So one is, people can give, money is always, I understood that sometimes people give a lot of, coats and things like that, it's, at this point you need translation services and cell phone chargers and interpreters and lawyers, and not always just goods. But can people, I assume that you guys need money to do what you're doing, and that would be incredibly helpful. So maybe talk about that for a moment. But also, if somebody's watching in New York, like, sure, they can send a check to us and we'll pass it on to you, or send it straight to you, or however that will work. But can they also politically, Poland is, there's political pressure that can be brought on Poland. The United States, where a lot of people are watching that are connected to us, are, is Poland, America is a country that Poland cares about what America thinks. And these people have connections and influence, and they can write to their congressman and senator and say, hey, let Poland know that this isn't okay, and that they need to do that. Is that something that people should be doing, and giving money?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so with your first question about the money and the way that people can help, for now, when it's changing, and the weather is so bad, so for right now we need very very expensive equipment. We need those everything needs to be like for survival and also for hypothermia. So it's really it's costing a lot of money. So for right now, many of the clothes that we're getting, it's not enough. It's not for this weather. It's so we need to have those professional equipment. So the best way is to send money, because we can buy especially what we know what we want, right? Like exactly this survival kits. It's really it's really expensive, and we need it. For like most cases, we have someone that is we met people and they're like they have 26 Celsius temperature, right? Like the normal is 36. So it's it should be a scandal. I don't know, but yeah, that's a good way. But what is important, and that's something that it was really hard for me to realize, is that the only thing that this will stop is when the government will change, and when the government will do something to to stop this from happening. So so it's very important to to put pressure on our government, and this is what also European Union is trying to do, and also what United States can do, right? So this is very important to talk about it and to spread the awareness that this is, I am pretty sure that when it is over, it will be called, oh no, I forget the word. The crime against humanity. That's what I wanted to say. It will be called the crime against humanity, because there's so many people just dying there, and the kid. I don't know if you heard the story, but I guess it was 2 days ago. the little girl that she was lost in the forest, 4-year-old girl. She, like, they pushed back her parents, and now she's alone in the forest, and only local people can help her because it's not even, it's the zone, so no one can go. And if that girl would be Polish girl, there would be like thousands of people looking for
No
her.
question. The whole country, every helicopter in the country would be in that forest. It's no question. It's a shame. And I think that you're right to call it a crime and a scandal, and no side here is innocent. And at the end of the day, the politics is secondary, and these are human beings and need to be treated with all the dignity that we would treat our own families. And it's criminal and a shame. And we are planning, we are so inspired and impressed by what you're doing, young person who's picking up her life and doing that, and it inspires us. And we, just in our little way here at the center this year are focusing on supporting refugees and doing anything that we can do. And we're going to work as close as we can with Salam Lab and raise money and raise awareness and try to be the best partners that we can be, because we remember when we were those people on the border, and we don't want anyone to go through that again. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really hard for me to talk about this, but yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
Awareness.
You're amazing and inspiring. Thank you, Agnieszka. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, same.
An honor to talk to you, Agnieszka.
An honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.